All the military might of the People's Republic of China will be on display around Tiananmen Square today. It's the day that China celebrates its National Day as well. I suppose in the Socialist Republic of Dan-istan they would have done something similar as well. But there are plenty of mixed messages and plenty of things that are confusing people right now as we seem to be on the road out of the coronavirus crisis. And the mixed messages are this. In some states, some things are going to change. In Queensland, for instance, at 11:59 tonight, people are going to be able to drive as far as 50 kilometres away from their home. We think as the crow flies, or is it as the road runs? No one really knows. The Premier's a bit vague on it as well. In New South Wales, people are going to be able to have people over for dinner in some places, but how many? Who knows? Who's going to come and check? So do you really want to be the first person in your street to get the fine when you get whatever the release of these changes is? Absolutely wrong. Another confusing point, council parks. You're allowed to take your dog for a run around in the off-leash area, but you can't go into the gated off-leash area. If you open the gate, you're breaching the law. If you use the picnic tables, that's fine, but if you use the barbecue, you're breaching the laws. If you climb the monkey bars or use the swings in the park, it's breaching the laws, but you can go to the park. The whole thing's got me completely confused, and I'm sure it has you confused as well. Meanwhile, you've got people who are trying to push the envelope, try and take this whole thing further. Oh, I've got a couple of thousand people coming over this weekend. Do they drive through? How do they get there? How do they do this? How do they do that? Can we just all remember that social distancing is the common sense norm? The Prime Minister's been providing real leadership on this. He's been very clear. He said kids can go to school, but some state premiers prefer to grandstand and say, no, the unions have told us we don't want the kids in the classroom, yet the health experts say they can be there. This kind of mixed messaging is incredibly confusing to you and I. And when there's $1,300 fines here and $1,000 there and $10,000 somewhere else, we really want to get it right, don't we? And some of these premiers grandstanding, trying to look like they're the ones doing the happy news. Premier Palaszczuk, great example of that this afternoon. Talk about manufacturing a crisis when you know what the solution is. She was always going to allow the National Rugby League to cross the border into Queensland, but she just wanted to milk it for all it was worth, for as long as it could be. But of course, they may well have misjudged the mood of some people in the marketplace, not overly happy to think that the footballers, the football gods, can cross the borders, whilst if I were to go and see my auntie on the other side of the Queensland border at the bottom end of the Gold Coast, I'd be fine, but a footballer can cross over and play a game of very close contact sport. This whole mixed messaging thing is going to cause a lot of Australians to start to feel really rebellious and start to feel very much so, why are we being treated differently? Some are being treated one way, we're being treated somewhere else. Billionaires can fly from one part of Australia to another, gate crash a press conference and hop back in their private jet and fly back to their other state. Did Twiggy Forrests go into 2 weeks of isolation in Perth when he arrived back there after flying back from Melbourne? These are all questions that people reasonably want to have answers to. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. While premiers are grandstanding, people are playing political games, the Prime Minister continues, in my view, to show real and genuine leadership on this. He's being very calm, he's been very measured, he's showing a way through. We've gone through the survive, we're now going into the revive mode. And of course then, because there's always a third word in a three-letter slogan, there'll be the thrive mode. So from survive to revive to thrive. That's Australia's journey on the road out from this coronavirus economic crisis that we're in. People are hurting, some people hurting a lot more than others, some people exploiting the moment as well. But right now we are starting to see some glimmer of hope for the future, some sense that there is a plan, that we're going to build on the right fundamentals to get Australia not back to the way it necessarily was, but in fact get a better Australia out of this whole thing. And we don't care very much, I think most Australians don't care very much if we upset another country along the way, be they a big customer of our mining products, a big customer of our beef products and fish products. I don't think Australia's really all that worried about that as much as anything else. We just want to have a barbecue with a few mates at the local park and not get pinged for it. Keen to know what you think. #Hardgrave at skynews.com.au.